Good morning.
Good morning.
Let love point the way. Okay, do you love your life?
Yes.
Really love your life?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you're meant to, you know. In fact, you are meant to love your life, and it is your divine birthright. Realizing that as we individually love our lives, we affect the collective well-being of all humanity. Realizing that as we live more fulfilled, joyous, complete lives, we up-level the vibration of all humankind. This month we will focus on our individual lives and how we can experience loving them on a day-to-day, hour-by-hour, actually minute-by-minute basis. In the Science of Mind magazine, and this was back in September of 2011, James Redfield wrote that consciousness is contagious. And we know that, right? We know that consciousness is contagious. He wrote that it's like a virus, but in a good way. So this month we are focusing on loving our lives so that life on this planet becomes more loving. We could use a little more loving on our planet. Yes? And here's the crux of the whole thing. Each and every one of us has the power to do this. You have the power to do this. And here's the second crux. No one has the power to take it away from you, no matter what. I love the words of New Thought author Robert Collier. The power for happiness, for good, for everything we need of life is within each one of us. The power is there. It is unlimited power. So today we embark on a month of loving life. I wonder where I got that title, Loving Life. Every time I would ask how Suzanne would be doing, I'd call and send her something, she'd respond, Loving Life, Loving Life. It's like, all right, this is good. So we're going to embark on a month of loving life, because we're all going to get in the habit of doing that. And today we're going to focus on the pretty famous story in the New Thought community of Dr. Ernest Holmes, the beloved founder of religious science. So not long before, he made his transition on April 7th, 1960, he was asked, if you had to do it all over again, writing the Science of Mind textbook, the faith, the philosophy, would you change anything? And his answer might have surprised the questioner, because he said, yes, I would have. I would have focused less on the law and more on love. Less on the law and more on love. As far as I know, he did not elaborate on that statement, but I've often reflected on it. In fact, it's been the discussion of many New Thought ministers and at many of our conferences. And here's my take on what he would have said after that. This thing we call the law, on which he did focus a great deal of his teachings and writings, as do a lot of our New Thought mothers and fathers, is an automatic process. It's an automatic process. It is simply how God creates, and how we as God's expression here on earth create. God's thought creates worlds and peoples it with living things. Our thought, or our consciousness, combo of our thoughts, feelings, beliefs, attitudes, values, and actions and words, that creates our world and peoples it with our experiences. So that's paraphrasing the Holmes quote. In The Science of Mind, Dr. Ernest Holmes writes, when the consciousness speaks, the law receives and executes. When a farmer plants a seed, he invokes the law. That which follows is done by the mechanical side of nature, which has no volition of its own. Ignorance of the law excuses no one from its effects. In the Talk on Truth, Charles Fillmore, who is the founder of Unity, writes, there are no accidents in the laws of being. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap, is another way of saying that for every cause there is an adequate effect. This law of sequence is the balance wheel of the universe. And he also writes, Jesus demonstrated the law of God, and his word was with power. He became the Word of God incarnate because he fulfilled all the requirements of the law. This fulfillment is the privilege of every man. Whoever dedicates his whole life to the supreme good, and by devotion, right thinking, right doing, right acting, pure living, and pure speaking, fulfills the law and may have all the power of Jesus. God is no respecter of persons, but he requires an exact observance of the law to the least jot and tittle. I really wanted to quote that because I really like the phrase, to the least jot and tittle. Those are not words that we hear today in our world, are they? They spoke very differently back then. So the law,
It's a fun word.
it is fun. Jot and tittle, yes. I'm sure we would get strange looks if we used this out in the world right now. So the law is given. The law is given. It is the way that creation occurs. Just like gravity, it is always at work. Always at work, right? Because we're not moving right now, right? We're not floating. There's not a darn thing that we can do to change it. And we explored the law in depth last month. Does anybody remember we talked a lot about the law last month? Because we were returning to our science of mind basics, our religious science basics, and law is definitely one of our basics. So how we use the law is the biggest question, and that we who know about and understand the law can ever ask. How we use the law. Are we activating the law through love? Are we activating the law through love? Are we letting love be the guiding force in our lives? Said simply, are we planting seeds of love into the soil of law? Are we doing that? Because it is only as we do that that we will be truly fulfilled, that we will find our place in this earthly experience and find our deep and abiding connection with the God of our being, because a synonymous name for God is love. God is also known as love. That is why I think Holmes said that he would have focused more on love, which he defined as a cosmic force whose sweep is irresistible. Whose sweep is irresistible. So today, our talk title is a derivative of the statement Holmes made in his Science of Mind textbook. And he made it many times in the book. He wrote, "Love points the way and law makes the way possible." Love points the way and law makes the way possible. But we're saying it just a little differently, as I have here. It's let love point the way, and action. Let love point the way. So that is our mission today, to let love point the way. And the way we let love point the way is when we lead with what? Our hearts. We lead with our hearts. I want to tell you a story, and it's a true story, about a beautiful baby boy named Liam, who was the firstborn of a sweet and caring couple in Phoenix, Arizona. And this was several years ago. Liam was born with complications with his heart, which his parents were told would require several surgeries over the first year of his life. At 11 days old, he had his first open heart surgery. Complications arose from that surgery, and 15 days later, Liam's little body gave way and released his soul. And on this human plane of experience, this was a profound and deep tragedy. And at the same time, it seems that Liam came here for a very specific mission, which he fully and completely accomplished. This morning, I want to share with you Liam's mission. How do we know that this was Liam's mission? Because on the day that he passed, his soul spoke directly to his father's, and this is what it said. "My mission here was to show all of you that love can move mountains. I planted seeds in the garden of love. That garden is you. Please do not worry about me, as I am with God in heaven. But please don't forget my purpose here. Life is a glorious thing because of the people we share our lives with. Hold on to one another. Be kind to each other. Nurture and love one another. This will please me, as it was my mission to show you love." This little being opened his heart, literally, to love. His name, Liam, L-I-A-M, took on a new meaning. Love, I am, because he awakened in the hearts of everyone present in his life of 26 days with a deeper, deeper sense of love. His parents created the 26-day Love I Am challenge. For 26 days, choose to let only love point the way in everything you think, say, and do. Choose to live ahimsa, a Sanskrit word and a Hindu practice in which Gandhi engaged. It means abstaining from causing harm or injury. More than just non-injury, it is living from cosmic love. It is the development of a mental attitude in which all forms of hurt or harm are replaced by love. Ahimsa is a universal love. It is a pure love. What do you suppose would happen in this world if each of us committed 26 days to practicing ahimsa to the best of our abilities. What do you think would happen? An ahimsa website offers some thoughts on what the power of ahimsa can do. In the presence of one who practices ahimsa, enmity ceases. In his presence, cobra and frog, cow and tiger, cat and rat, wolf and lamb will all live together in terms of intimate friendship. In his presence, all hostilities are given up. The term hostilities are given up means that all beings, men, animals, birds, and poisonous creatures will approach the practitioner without fear and will do no harm to him. Their hostile nature disappears in them in his presence. So, if you were to let love point the way by taking the 26-day challenge, the Love I Am challenge, how might you practice ahimsa? How might we do this? First, how about practicing reactive love I am? In other words, reacting with love in the face of whatever.
That horrible driver in front of you.
Right, whatever. In whatever, the grouchy person at the checkout stand, the child who makes a biting comment because you're not doing exactly what they think you ought to be doing. Maybe the person calling for the 15th million time to see if you want solar installed in your home. Yes, ahimsa.
Sure,
Ahimsa. Yes. Jesus teaches us about reactive love in Luke 6:27 through 35, and this is a liberal translation. Love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Pray for the happiness of those who curse you. Implore God's blessing on those who hurt you. Do you think you deserve credit for merely loving those who love you? That's easy, right? Even the godless do that. And if you do good only to those who do good to you, is that so wonderful? Even sinners do that much. But love your enemies and do good to them, so your reward will increase and you will become sons of the highest. And there's Jesus talking about the law at work. When we practice this, there is a corresponding result that is tangible. 5,000 years before Jesus walked this earth, another enlightened being did. His name was Siddhartha Gautama, whose exalted title was the Buddha, literally meaning one who is awake. The story is told that one day he was addressing his followers and a man approached him and proceeded to unleash a stream of obscenities at him. Hatred and venom poured forth from him directly at the Buddha. The Buddha remained silent, softly smiling at the man, which caused the verbal abuse to become even more vicious. Finally, the attacker stopped and asked the Buddha why he was unmoved by what was being said to him. The Buddha replied with a question. If you are offered a gift and refuse to accept it, to whom does the gift belong? I suppose it still belongs to the giver, the man replied. Well, responded the Buddha, I have declined your gift. The Buddha refused to receive the hatred that the man was trying to give him. He refused to make it his own. He did only one thing. He stood there smiling, sending the man love and peace. And the man fell at his feet and wept. Michael Beckwith, he's the pastor of the Agape Center in LA, answered in a workshop to the question, how do you hold your vision? And his answer was, I bless those who hate me. I bless those who hate me. If you could commit to practicing this reactive level of ahimsa or love I am for the next 26 days, you'd be a powerful catalyst for the good in this world. But wait, there's more. What if you practiced proactive love I am? If you knew you only had a few days left to live, who would you call? What would you say? And what are you waiting for? Nika, age 6, once said, if you want to learn to love better, you should start with a friend you hate. A wise friend of mine recently said to me, we cannot teach what we do not know, and we cannot lead where we will not go. So I decided I needed to practice proactive love I am before I talked to you about it. When I prayerfully thought about whom I would do this, an antagonistic person at work came to my mind immediately. And I wouldn't say that I hated her because I really, truly don't believe I hate anyone. I really don't. But I definitely antagonistic feelings were there, or maybe I really disliked the way she seemed to want to make everyone's life more difficult. So there were attributes that I wasn't too thrilled about. So I began, and I just started doing this last week or so. I began blessing her, and I've done this on and off with different people, but because Suzanne always has great stories about how she blesses people and
Towards their good.
towards their good, and amazing things happen. So I began blessing her with love, and I made it a point every morning to cheerfully say good morning and ask how she was doing. And she responded in a kind manner, and by all appearances, she is no longer being antagonistic, at least to me anyway. And I haven't been the recipient of any, because a lot of people would confide in me and tell me what she had been doing, and I haven't heard that lately. Not for the last week or so anyway. So it's like, all right, I'm going to keep this up because it's a good change. It's a good change. Holmes once wrote, "Love overcomes both hate and fear. However, love does not overcome hate and fear through controversy, argument, or force, but by subtle power of transformation, transmutation, and sublimation. As light overcomes the darkness, as the presence of heat causes the coolness of a room to change," although we're not feeling that in here right now, "until it is warm and comfortable, so the radiant action of love and peace dissipates fear, hate, and confusion. Love is the victor in every case. Love breaks down the iron bars of thought, shatters the walls of material belief, severs the chain of bondage which thought has imposed, and sets the captive free." Just as the song says. Just as the song says. What could you do over the next 26 days to live Love I Am proactively? Love is what we are born with. Little Liam taught us that. To experience love is the meaning of our life. It's what we're here for. Think of a world of love. Think of a world of love. There would be no war, no hunger, no environmental breakdown, no oppression, no violence or prejudice. And I ask this a lot. Do you believe world peace is possible? And we must say unequivocally, yes. Because until we believe it is possible, we cannot contribute to it. We must believe it is possible, or we cannot practice what it is we say we believe. People would be working together in cooperation and peace. If we lit it, love can point the way to this world. And this is a world that I want to live in. I want to live in a world that is filled with peace and filled with love. I want my children to live in that world, and my grandchildren. This is a life I would love to live every day, every hour, every minute. And we have the power, each of us does, today in this moment to create it. Because if we're not creating that, we're creating something different, right? So why not create what it is we want to create? And we have the power today. Let this be our mantra for the next 26 days. Divine love is doing its perfect work in me and through me now. Let's say that together. Divine love is doing its perfect work in me and through me now. That's our mantra. So today, choose love. Today, see love. Today, reveal love. I'm also going to add today, be love. Today, allow your life to be filled with love. Today, let love point the way to the life that you love to live. And then today may become the day written about by Pierre de Chardin. These French people. He was a 19th century French monk and mystic. And of course, I quote him often because it's a favorite quote of mine. And he says, "The day will come when after harnessing space, the winds, the tides, and gravitation, we shall harness for God the energies of love. And on that day, for the second time in the history of the world, we shall have discovered fire." And so it is.